We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session for today, which is Thursday, April 27th. We'll have the invocation that will be done by Pastor Francisco Arley of the Midway United Methodist Church. After that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem Councilmember Larry Yockey. Please stand for the invocation.
Good evening, Mayor Robinson, Council. Today's reading comes out of Psalm 133. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. It is pleasing to God when we work together, when we set aside our differences, when we find a way to come together to do His work. And I ask, as you prepare for your meeting and you prepare to do His work, that you're united, you come together and just do what it is that our city needs done. Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, I just ask that you give wisdom and strength to your servants here, Lord, to the servants of Douglasville. I ask that you be with them, Lord. I ask that they can feel your presence. And Lord, I ask that they can work together and that there is unity, because we know you are pleased when we all come together, and serve you and serve each other. It's in your precious Son's name, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that we pray all of this. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem and Pastor Francisco. We appreciate you doing the invocation for us again. Okay, we will go on to announcements and presentations. We don't have any, but I will do the protocol for the meeting so that everyone's aware of the procedure and how we'd like for the meeting to run. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Douglasville's legislative work session for tonight. And the items that will be voted on, this is not the wrong, that's the wrong one. Okay. This work sessions where agenda items are presented for discussion and no official action will be taken tonight. Official action will be taken on the items discussed tonight on Monday's meeting at 6 p.m. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates section to discuss your business. There are a few protocol issues I'd like to bring to your attention. We ask that you keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make their decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. We'll receive warning from the chair, and if you deviate from that, we'll have to ask our police officer to take you out, our deputy chief. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to the speakers. I would ask you to please silence all of your electronic devices, your cell phones, iPads, and such, so that it will not be disruptive to the meeting. We'll have a for and against time. The committee chair will bring that to the forefront. There are 30 minutes to speak on either side. And when you come to the podium, please provide your information to the city clerk. There's a green form out on the desk that you should have filled out. If you would come forward, give your name and address for the record, and hand your form to Ms. Vicki Acker, our city clerk. And each person will have one opportunity to speak. And if you do not want to respond to any of the agenda items, you can come forward at the end of the meeting under the portion that says citizens and delegates, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Okay, those are how things are going to be run tonight, and we will go to the first committee. And so the first committee is Public Safety. The Vice Chair. Who's the Vice Chair of Public Safety? Mr. Yockey.
No items tonight, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, sir. Community and Economic Development Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 3 items to discuss tonight under Community and Economic Development. The first is to adopt a resolution supporting the annual Taste of Douglasville event to be held on May 20th, 2017 in downtown Douglasville. Mr. Lynn?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Lynn, Community and Development Services Director, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. It is that time of year again. We're coming up May 20th will be the 24th annual Taste of Douglasville in downtown Douglasville. The event begins at 11 a.m. Traditional setup is going to be a little different this year with O'Neill Plaza being under construction. So we're going to have everything shifted into the street and move further west toward the county courthouse, the old courthouse, and the museum area. We're going to have our normal street closures. It will be extend a little farther out. We're going to have some soft closures from Campbellton to Price, and then the hard closure going forward to make sure that we protect everybody that is in the street. Should be as big of one, if not bigger, than we've ever had. The plaza construction, from what I understand, is not going to hinder the amount of vendors we have participating and everything like that. And I don't want to steal their glory, so if you all have any questions, I know we still have some CAC representatives here with us tonight, if you have any questions for them.
Before you leave the podium, what type of security are you going to, since we're going to be out in the streets, and we know what's happened, around the world, what are we going to do in regards to protecting our citizens?
I do know, just from barricade-wise, our maintenance and sanitation guys are going to be ready to set up everything that we need to protect, the physical barricades. And I don't know the exact number of officers we have for the event. I don't know if Deputy Chief or the CAC can comment on what they have right now.
Can we then maybe get with the maintenance and sanitation department and use some of their large trucks, okay, to block off the streets where car access can get into the streets?
Sorry, we're making certain technology works tonight. The reason, what typically Mr. Roberts, our maintenance and sanitation director, does is he usually blocks off the street with the vehicle. That's just been his common practice, but I can make certain on Monday that he addresses you all regarding what safety measures he will have put in place on Monday night.
Because that is just a huge concern of, I think, of ours now, of what has happened around the world, and let's don't let it happen here.
Absolutely.
Police, what about that?
Police and trucks. Thank you.
Any other comment? Mr. Lynn, did I hear you say this is the 24th annual?
That is my understanding. Is that correct? Yeah, 24th.
That's phenomenal. I want to make sure that we take note of that. And as we had discussed in our committee meetings earlier, it looks as though it's going to be a record crowd, even in the face of our plaza being out of commission. And I just want to thank the officials, Ms. Puckett and Ms. Hill, for their continued efforts in that area to bring this to the forefront and to do the job that they're doing, to bring as many vendors as I've seen on the layout. I'm impressed, and I know that you all have put in a lot of work for it, and we look forward to it. Anyone else have a comment? Is there anyone that would like to speak with Ms. Hill or Ms. Puckett again? Since our committee meetings, is there anyone like to ask any question, or is there any comment that you would like to make, ladies? If you would, Ms. Hill, let's do the deal and state your name and address for the record, please.
Davina Grace Hill, Executive Director of the Cultural Arts Council. My home address is 3896, I still can't pronounce it, Lauada Drive in Douglasville, and I'm here to talk about the taste, of course, and basically what Jonathan said, ditto. 24th year, 125 booths are going to line Church Street. Let me take that back, 107, because 17 will be in the plaza, on the alleyway for the kids' booths. 20 restaurants, 26 Better Living, 28 arts and crafts, and 32 sponsors. So we expect a huge crowd to be out there. We're going to have a great time, a good menu that ranges from Australia to Cajun, Italian, Greek, Philly subs, you name it. Come hungry. So
Thank you very much.
thank you for closing the streets for us, and we hope to see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask if there's no other discussion on the item that we place this on the consent agenda. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hill and Ms. Puckett, once again. Item B, appoint Elaine Pendley Sears to the City of Douglasville's Historic Preservation Commission for a 3-year term starting February 1st, 2017 and ending January 31st, 2020. We did have the opportunity in our committee meetings to interview Ms. Sears, who is, as we all have learned, is a lifelong resident to our city and local business owner, downtown business owner, historic preservation area business owner. And we appreciate...
Unlock your iPhone first.
I'm sorry. And she is a a big asset to the historical preservation group. So is there any discussion or question? Mr. Lynn, do you have any other comments on that item?
No, sir.
Thank you. If not, I would like to see that also placed on the consent agenda.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Item C, authorize the mayor to sign an annual service agreement with the Douglas County Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $15,000 for tourism services provided to the city of Douglasville for a period of July 1, 17 to June 30th, 18. Mr. Lynn?
Yes, sir. This is just another annual service contract for the services that the city does receive from the chamber, which includes, as you heard it, I believe it was your last 5 o'clock meeting, just everything from using board space to providing business support. We do budget this amount every year, so this is the same amount that it was last year, $15,000.
Okay. Questions, comments? Is this an item we could place on the consent agenda if the group if the group would allow? It is a renewal of a contract, same amount as last year.
Not a problem.
Okay. Madam Mayor, that's all that I have under that committee. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Planning and Development Committee. That's also chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a couple of items tonight under Planning and Development. The first is to authorize the mayor to sign a Plan First application and submit it to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. Ms. Wright has spoken to us during our committee meetings. She's here now to give us an overview of that item again, and look forward to hearing from her. Thank you.
This is a program that rewards local governments that demonstrate success with implementing their local comprehensive plan, and it's through the Department of Community Affairs to become a Plan First community.
Thank you. Is there any comment or question of council or public concerning this item?
And maybe have her, Michelle, just explain to the citizens what this does for us.
Okay. Basically, what we're applying for is it's a program that actually will reward us for doing planning in the community. Some of the plans that we look at is a comprehensive plan, the comprehensive transportation plan, the LCI studies, the downtown master plan, our programs that we do, our capital improvement project updates. It also looks at leadership in the community through staff and certifications. It looks at our commissions, which is boards and commissions, which is planning, historic preservation, planning and development, bike pedestrian, city council, many other commissions. It looks at how we're keeping our staff and our elected officials up to date with taking classes, which and conferences, which we do the GMA conference and planning conferences, and many of our other departments do conferences and classes to keep themselves up to date. It looks at some of the things that we have implemented in our planning. For example, mixed use, a historic district, a farmer's market. We have Keep Douglasville Beautiful, Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, Downtown Development Committee, Downtown Conference Center, City TV, our DCOP program through the police department, and our Youth Against Violence. This is not all the programs, but it shows that we are out there as a community. We are planning and implementing. It also looks at community input, our steering committees, citizen stakeholders, and outreach programs that we have to include our citizens in the processes of our planning. And then it looks at plan implementation. Some of the implementation we've done is our downtown master plan, O'Neill Plaza renovations, sidewalk programs, West Pines Golf Course, Hunter Park renovation, our new Plaza East, our LCI implementation, our Green Communities program, and our State Route 92 project. These are just some of our plans that we have implemented, the GIC program, the housing program, and our capital budget. So it takes a look at all these for the city of Douglasville and what we have planned and how we've included citizens and how we have implemented it.
Thank you very much. It really makes, doesn't look like we're sitting around doing nothing.
No, we aren't.
That's right.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Comment?
Mr. Chairman, I was going to say also, as Mayor Pro Tem has said, it's just a great designation and something for us to seek after and have a feather in our hats, as the chairman said during committee, because if you don't, if you fail to plan, you're going to plan to fail. So it just, as the Mayor Pro Tem said, we're forward thinking, and it really shows the citizens that we're putting forth an effort to look in the future for the city and for the city to progress. So thank you again for seeking that out and putting the hard work into this designation about planning. We appreciate your support and your work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Any other comment? Any other question of Ms. Wright? Any other public comment concerning the item? If not, I'd like to ask this also be placed on the consent agenda for Monday night.
Fine.
Okay, item B. Approve a variance request to reduce the 50-foot required minimum setback for regulated activities from the bank of a regulated stream in zoning code subsection 3.22.04C 1E for a variance of 25 feet on the northeastern side of the property for a remaining required buffer of 25 feet to allow construction of impervious surface not closer than 25 feet to Anawake Creek, to eliminate the 25-foot additional stream buffer requirement in zoning code subsection 3.85.02 for a variance of 25 feet, leaving no buffer area required by this subsection, to allow impervious cover at the same location, and to reduce the additional 50-foot undisturbed natural vegetative stream buffer requirement of zoning code subsection 3.85.01 for a variance 25 feet for a remaining buffer requirement of 25 feet to allow development activity at the same location at parcel 01630250012 on 40.28 acres in land lot 163, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 12. Application made by S.L. Bright Star, LLC. I assume, Mr. Fowler, you want to speak before the group concerning that item. Would you give us your name and address for the record, please?
Joe Fowler, Post Office Box 49, Douglasville. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. This is the tract that is the subject of the development agreement that was approved by the city with S.L. Bright Star on March the 9th, 2017. When the detailed design work was done, what they noticed is that there is a spring that originates on roughly the northeast corner of the property, maybe down 100 or so feet from the northeast corner. The spring originates 50 or 60 feet inside the east property line. The city's buffer is, if for example, this is the spring, there is a mandated buffer of 25 feet by the state on either side. So if this is the spring head extending roughly 60 feet till you get to the property line, 25 feet, then another 25 feet, and then 25 more to create, with the added 25, the 75 foot. The request tonight is to remove those setbacks down to the state required minimum. So this is the spring, 25 feet on this side, 25 on the other. Without the variance, because the topo is tough on this site and has to be graded flat for the building and the parking, without the variance, it's going to be difficult, perhaps impossible, to develop the property at all. Mr. Ray has done all the work with respect to that, and he can speak to that for just a moment. May he come forward?
Sure, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Ray. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Good.
Howard Ray, Hughes Ray Company, 6554 East Church Street, Douglasville. As Joe said, I think you have a plan in front of you. Basically, one of the issues is the required cross dock length, so that where a truck unloads and then it goes to the other end of the building and it reloads. So we have a set distance that we are required to meet for this client. So that's sort of what is making it this variance request needed. We have installed a wall on both sides of the property. We have a wall on the western property line, more or less, and we have a wall on the eastern property line. So what we're basically asking for the variance is to give us enough room to get those footings in for that wall and stay out of that stream buffer. So we've done everything we can to minimize it. As you will see, I will point out, In the drawings you have now, the buffer is squared off. That was based on conversations with the Water Sewer Authority and the city. So we're not as close as we were when you would typically see the old way of looking at it as it being rounded off. I know I'm getting very technical here, but you'll see a gap, and that's why that gap is sort of there. But there again, what you don't see on my drawing is the footing for that wall. That wall, I believe, I'm shooting from the hip, is about 12 to 15 feet tall. So that footing's gonna be 15 to 20 feet wide. So that's why, even though it doesn't show any specific design lines right up against that buffer, it's because I don't draw the footing.
The footing then basically would be subterranean when everything is finished and it won't be seen. So the wall will be 25 feet away from the stream. What you're needing in the variance is to get inside that buffer to put the footing in to hold the wall up.
Correct. Would
Okay.
be getting into the city 25 additional.
Got it. But your request does not reduce the buffer to anything below the state required minimum. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Is this property capable of flooding? I mean, I don't know what this stream does, and I don't know how much water that stream.
Yeah, it does not. When you look at the floodplain starts roughly 400 to 500 feet downstream. And specifically, the reason that part even shows a floodplain is because of the old gravel Gurley Road has an undersized culvert on it, or under it, and therefore the water backs up. This is definitely a spring. It does have what they call a bed and bank, but we did have an environmental scientist locate it, and is actually at that particular point, there's not water coming out at that point, but there's what they call rested vegetation, which signifies that at particular times of the year it could be wet and groundwater coming out.
All right.
Other questions, comments? Public comment? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you bringing that forward. We'll take that item up on Monday night.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Madam Mayor, that's all that we have under that committee. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You get the star tonight for reading the most in agenda items. Very wordy. We'll move on to Parks and Recreation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're
We have
welcome.
2 items tonight under Parks and Recreation. Item A, to approve a resolution for the city to sponsor the 2017 Wednesday Wind Down Concert Series, specifying performance dates, approved performers, and performer compensation. And do we have anybody that is, Mr. Landrum? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Name's Travis Landrum, 8830 Gurley Road, Douglasville, Georgia. This resolution is being presented tonight to seek approval for the summer concert series, the Wednesday Wind Downs. We have the benefit of hosting it out at Hunter Park this year, of course, due to the construction in the downtown development. And we're seeking this approval for the specified performers, the dates, and also the compensation for them. Not listed on here, and I think it's on the attachment though, but we're looking for this series to start June 7th and go for 10 consecutive occurrences ending on August 9th.
Mr. Landrum, August 9th, TBA, to be announced, I'm assuming. Do we have anything since this was?
Originally, there was a talent listed for that, but I was informed that they would not be able to perform. So we currently do still have that spot available, and any local talent or talent interested in performing would be able to fill that vacancy.
And I'm assuming that this was the budgeted amount that we had in the budget for this, per our discussion in committee. I can't remember the exact amount, but
For that particular
for
occurrence.
the series.
Yes, sir. There was an amount, well, from the previous year, of course, the remaining funds were rolled over. So we do have the budget amount for this coming year, and any necessary funds that exceeds the amount for the talent will be supported with sponsorships that will be obtained by the Parks Department.
Looks like we have a wide variety, different types of talent performing this year.
Yes, sir. This will be my first rodeo with it. From what I hear, we have some great talent here locally and in the surrounding areas. So looking forward to seeing what they have out there in the concert series.
And it's going to be a little bit different this year because we're not going to be at O'Neill Plaza, so we're going to be at Hunter Park, and along with that, we're going to have a portable, I guess, stage that's going to be out there also.
Yes, sir.
So everyone needs to bring their chairs and such, just like they did with the O'Neill Plaza, but it's going to be on grass versus concrete.
Yes, sir. We'll have a touch of nature out there for them to enjoy the concert.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
I have a question. What time will the concerts begin?
Well, the schedule will be set from 6 to 9:30, depending on the time for those performers. Of course, there'll be like opening acts, and then there'll be some fillers in between each performer. So it'll be in between that 6 to 9:30 range. Most of the performers will start around that 6:30 or 7 o'clock start time.
And where will the stage actually be? And I know there'll be softball games and things going on. So how will we control the traffic and also safety as well?
Well, most of the parking for this particular event would take place at the Ike Owens Recreation Center, and then we would also have the availability with overflow with the Board of Education parallel next to the property. If we do have tournaments that take place, all of that traffic will continue straight to the back of the property around in the baseball section in the back part of Hunter Park. So we'll have, of course, security available that would also assist with the flow of traffic and make sure that we eliminate, as well, work down any congestion that we would have.
And I understand there will be food trucks there as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Yay, okay. Sounds like fun. I don't have any other comments. Thank you.
We just maybe need to cue in the Maintenance and Sanitation Department to do extra spraying for mosquitoes and such during our season this year, to make sure that since we're now sitting on grass versus concrete, there's a capability or the expectation that we don't want to have any bugs, and mosquitoes to offend our citizens.
Councilman Siegel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One question on June 28th. We've got 2 artists listed in the resolution.
Yes, sir. That will be listed as our doubleheader event. The talent that was originally scheduled for another day could not perform. So in fairness to the originally scheduled talent, we have spoken with both of them, and they will be able to schedule to perform, one on the front end of the schedule and one to close out the show.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to reiterate about the time. That was some of the feedback that we received last year, is that Wednesday Wind Down started at 6 o'clock, as Councilmember Berdanley said, inquiring about the time, but the performers didn't come until later on in the evening, really close to 8 or 9. So if they wanted to have their kids out there to listen to some music, that optimum time would be 7 p.m. rather than the latter time of the day. And so that if we had a time that was consistent and people could count on that that's the time the performance would start, is something that, just some feedback that I heard. In addition to that, when you said, Mr. Langer, that overflow would be at the Board of Education, it's a little walk. Are we going to provide transportation for safety? I don't know if people are going to be walking from the Board of Education to Hunter Park, or just that would just open us up kind of for something to happen, maybe if those cars driving up and down the street.
Well, they wouldn't necessarily have to go up to the street access. There's a trail between the 2 properties that would prevent them from having to go all the way to the street.
All right, I didn't know about the path. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just one last question. The disc golf that takes place over there sometimes, will that be shut down and diverted? The holes, some of the holes might be in the way of people walking from their cars to the venue. I just was curious about that.
Frisbee golf.
Disc golf.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Disc golf.
We have a disc golf course at Hunter Park, and
Correct. There's only 2 holes that would be possibly impacted, and those are the ones that go along through the path of where the stage would be. The other part of the course would still be available for use if you have patrons out there interested in disc golf at that time.
I just want to make sure we didn't have anybody walking that got conked in the head that Anyway, just curious. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Mr. Landrum. I'd like to ask to place this on the consent agenda. Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
That's
City
okay.
Manager.
Councilman Watts, just for your purposes, Chair, as well as the other elected officials, we will need to revisit the resolution at some point once we have the determination of the August 9th performer for the purposes of allowing me to be able to contract with that artist. But for the purposes of getting the series started so we can start advertising, we brought it before you because Monday is May 1st and the series starts on the 9th. We hope we will have it soon, but we will not contract with that individual on August 9th until we come back with a revised resolution that includes the artist's name. That's all I wanted to make you aware of.
So we can vote on this Monday night, even if the artist isn't in there yet?
We may remove it. I will get with Ms. Littlefield and then just come back with one added. But what you will have on Monday night will be reflective of what we legally need to have you vote on.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton. All right, again, I'd like to ask to place this on consent agenda for Monday night. Okay, thank you, Mr. Landrum.
Thank you.
Our second item under Parks and Recreation, item B, authorize the City Parks and Recreation Department to advertise for bids for the construction of the Bermuda Green Conversion Project. Mr. Cartwright is going to bring us some information on that.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Chris Cartwright, 9090 Rose Avenue, Douglasville, Georgia. Just to kind of go over the project again from the 5 o'clock meeting. This is a conversion of the greens from a bent grass to a Bermuda grass. It's a heat-tolerant, hardy grass that will be a better playing surface during the summer months when the course is the busiest. We will have to close down for a 6 to 8 week period to make the conversion possible. And the collars around the greens will be redone during the period as well.
Any questions? We've discussed this in committee last couple meetings, and do we have anything else that we want to bring to light or ask about? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If Mr. Cartwright can, for the public, just explain how you explained it to us as far as the membership and what their perks will be, since I know a lot of folks who have been avid golfers for years and have memberships to West Pines, and what will happen during that 6 to 8 week period.
Of course. So since we're going to have the course closed for that 6 to 8 week period, all of the memberships will be extended 2 months on the end of their expiration date so that they're not losing any of the time that they have already paid for. And with the project, we're going to have to redo 4 of the greens, recontour them, soften up the slopes and hills a little bit. The other 14 greens will be available to open earlier than those. So for the members only, we're looking at opening up the golf course only 14 holes, but giving them an extra perk of having the course to their use during that period of time.
Cartwright, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
would you, if it's okay, Mr. Cartwright, would you make sure that our listening citizens, our public, understand where the monies are coming from for this project that we plan to do?
Yes, sir. This is a SPLOST project.
Any other questions, comments?
And one more thing, and we won't know the effect until after we have all of the bids in.
That's correct. We have a budget set for the project that we've established with our architect, our expert on this project and projects of this nature, so we feel comfortable with the budget, and we'll put this out to bid and see where we land.
Thank you.
Mr. Cartwright, just briefly, for the listening public, just describe the benefits that this will bring to our golf course.
Of course. So Madam Mayor was at the course not too long ago, and we discussed how nice the greens were that day. And what I told her was we've established a reputation in the community for having some of the best greens. But when you come out in July and August and September, that may not be the case because the bent grass greens that we currently have do not take the heat very well during the summer. So this is a green that is made for the Georgia summers, the heat, the droughts that might come along. It's just a much better surface for the greens. If this grass had existed when the course was first built, it's what we would have on the greens already.
And do you also for the listening audience, do you happen to know of other golf courses locally that have switched to or already have this type of grass?
There are numerous golf courses that have made the switch to what I'll call a Bermuda putting surface. There are different variations or brands of Bermuda, but Bermuda in general, your Chapel Hills Golf Course has done it across town, Mirror Lake out in Villa Rica, Cherokee Run, a municipal golf course over in Conyers, has made the conversion, and Sugar Hill, which you guys visited not too long ago, has converted as well. And some of the high-end private clubs that really require that perfect putting surface have this in as well, just because it's such a good product.
Augusta has this particular grass?
Augusta has bent grass.
It has bent grass, okay.
Yes. But they're not open during the summer.
That's right.
So
That's
they
what
don't
I had
care
heard
about
that.
it.
I goes,
Yep.
what do you mean you're not open during the summer? Very good. That's it.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Mr. Cartwright, and we will vote on this on Monday night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, actually, we'll vote on the bid process, right?
Correct.
Okay. Madam Mayor, that's all we have tonight under Parks and Recreation.
Thank you so much, Chairman Watts. We'll move on to Finance Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Larry Yockey.
Yes, I have 3 items tonight. Authorize the mayor to sign an e-payment services agreement and related documents with Point and Pay LLC for credit card pay receipt services for the city's zoning and development, finance, conference center, Hunter Park, Davis Park, courts, police reception, and police records functions.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Karen Callan, City of Douglasville, 6695 Church Street Finance Director. And I know we didn't have a committee item on this, so I'll go into a little more detail, but I'll still be quick. The city has many credit card processors. Some of the common things we take credit cards for are Parks Department, Finance takes credit card payments for sanitation, West Pines for golf. We do yard sale permits, and the conference center takes credit cards for their rental payments. As most of you know, we are transitioning from one solution to BS&A for our software provider. At this time, BS&A will only partner with Point and Pay, which is our credit card processing company. They feel like Point and Pay is aligned with their customer service efforts. With the Point and Pay, we'll have a PCI Level 1 certified, and that's to prevent fraud. Interactive voice response, so customers that do not have web access are able to use the credit card system online. In the future, we'll have the option for tablet-based kiosk payments, for example, in courts, if they just wanted to run in and pay a ticket. We also have an option for tablet-based mobile payment devices with multiple points of service. We currently have online payment options for sanitation customers only. After we transition, we'll have many more options and opportunities. Parks will soon be converting to Rec 1 software, and Point and Pay integrates with that software. So Parks will soon be able to take online payments. The fee is the same as our current credit provider, so the fees are not going up. Online payments pass the fees to the customers as a convenience fee, so the city does save some money there. This current year, we have $52,000 budgeted for credit card fees. So hopefully we'll be able to save some money once we transition.
Okay. Any comments from the city council
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
and the mayor?
Yes, sir. I had a question. Just to reiterate, Ms. Callan, did you say that the online payments or service fee charge the city, that would not be, I know for Water and Sewer Authority, online payments, the WSA has to pay those, so the city will not have to pay that, it's passed on to the customer? Or
Yes, ma'am, it's passed on to the customer as a convenience fee.
Mhm.
But if they walk up and pay in our building, then the city will absorb that cost. But if they pay online, it's a convenience fee, and the customer will pay.
But we have to pay if they come to our facility and
Yes,
do
ma'am.
that? Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. And since I'd like to go ahead and put this on the consent agenda. Our next item is authorize the mayor to sign an application and addendum for the automated clearinghouse ACH origination services with Hamilton State Bank, amending the city's current cash management agreement with this bank to add ACH services to the enables sanitation customers to pay for services via ACH transfers. Kevin?
Yes, this is as a result, again, of our BSNA software conversion, and this will allow sanitation customers to set up automatic drafts. 90% of our customers have a flat rate, so they will be able to get a form on our city website, and it will automatically debit their account monthly, and it will upload into our system, so we'll have less clerks processing payments, checks for payments. And it will be accurate because there's a lot of numbers involved when you're typing in customer numbers and that type of thing. So it is a $20 cost a month to the city, but it will be no charge to the customer. So, and I think I've seen that in most cases, that if you pay with a check, it doesn't cost anything, or it's minimal versus paying online with a credit card.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. What payment is it for? Your regular trash service that's on the WSA bill, or?
That's WSA bills the residents, so it won't be from the residential
Okay,
side.
it won't-
It
was
will
not
be
res-
for the front load and the roll-offs.
Okay, I got a little bit confused. Thank you. So it isn't for residential, it's for commercial.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Any comments or questions from the city council? Okay. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and put this on the consent agenda also. All right, the last item. Authorize the mayor to sign a change request form with Bellevue, Cesar, and Associates Incorporated, amend the parties' software agreement of November 10th, 2016 to eliminate inventory management application and the customization for the Fuel Master application. Karen?
Yes, this is another item as a result of our software conversion. After we've had our initial discovery meetings, we discovered that the inventory program that they provide is not as robust as we had hoped. It will not track a lot of the items that we had prior in our fleet maintenance system. We only inventory 2 items. We inventory fuel, we inventory tires. So we felt that after further analysis, $17,000 would not be beneficial for us, so we're going to reduce the contract down by $17,000. We are manually tracking inventory right now. With the fuel tanks, we're dipping the tanks, and we're also using Fuel Master, so we have a couple of different methods that we're using in Excel sheets. So one thing that we are looking at is an overall view of our entire fleet system. So right now, I know Marcia has a couple of staff members looking for software. So we will be, once we choose that software, that will track inventory. So we'll be able to track fuel, vehicles, and tires, and so on and so forth accurately with a new system.
Okay, any comments or questions from the council?
Mr. Chairman, I had a question of Ms. Callan. Ms. Callan, would you explain, you said something about a $17,000 reduction in our contract with them, so they'll reduce the cost to us because they did not provide what we anticipated they would?
Well, if we could go with them, but since we have such small inventory and it does not track fleet like we had hoped, it does do an import with our Fuel Master, but it's not exactly what we need, so we just don't feel like it's worth it.
Gotcha.
So we are reducing our contract by $17,000.
That's what I thought.
It's
Thank
a
you.
negative change order.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
could you pronounce the name of the firm for us, please? No.
I'm
BSA?
not sure I can say.
BSA,
Oh,
right?
BSNA,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
okay.
you.
I didn't know if you wanted me to say the long name. No, BSNA.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I had a quick question. So we're going to do it manually, and for example, the city provides fuel for the mayor's vehicle. There's a key, and so there's a fuel key, and that registers how much fuel is taken. So you'll just have all that data for that vehicle, and you have them for certain vehicles. You'll compile all of that, and once we have the system or company that we choose, then we will put that in a software.
Yes, in a perfect world, the fleet maintenance system that you're using now with the key will automatically upload into our general ledger. And so there's right now, what we have to do is take that fuel report from Fuel Master that you're using and do journal entries for each department to charge out the fuel each month. And it is very time consuming, but not worth $17,000 right now, so.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Sure. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'd like to go ahead and put this on the consent agenda also. That's right. Okay, the last one is adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's fiscal year 2016-2017 sanitation enterprise fund budget.
Mr. Roberts is not here. He is on spring cleanup, and he has told me a couple times today that is priority. So he will be here Monday if you have any questions. But this is for the sanitation fund, and it is a knuckle boom truck that he's purchasing. He did obtain 2 quotes. He is going with the lowest quote from Environmental Products of Georgia. The other vendor was Carolina Environmental Systems. We are trending a little bit ahead in the residential revenue line item, so we are increasing our residential revenue line item and also increasing our sanitation vehicle line item for $150,000, which is just for the K-boom knuckle boom truck.
Could we get those quotes in our attachments on Monday?
Yes, sir, we can. I thought they were there. We'll have them for you on Monday night when Mr. Roberts is here.
Okay, and fine, thank you. We won't put this on the consent agenda, since we're going to have more conversation on this on Monday. No problem. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council or mayor? Okay, no more about the boom truck? Okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much, Karen. And that's all I have for the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Information and Technology Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Richard Siegel.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Maintenance and Sanitation Committee, Vice Chair is Councilmember Mark Adams.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Transportation Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember LaShawn Burdanley.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have one item, authorize a signed resolution and the mayor to sign a Transportation Improvement Program application for construction funds for the Atlanta Regional Commission for the City of Douglasville Riverside Parkway Bridge Rehabilitation Project, PI number 0015072. Ms. Wright?
Thank you. If you recall, we are looking at the Riverside Parkway Bridge, which is on Riverside Parkway. It is a bridge that goes over Sweetwater Creek down in that area. The bridge is deficient and is failing, and right now we are having the preliminary engineering done on it, the concept and the environmental, right-of-way utilities, and construction plans for this project. That will take approximately 2 years to go through that process, and then after that we will be able to go to construction on the project. This is to apply for construction funds through the Georgia Department of Transportation and the Atlanta Regional Commission. It would be a federal grant. The grant would be 80% federal money with the city match of 20% federal money. The grant would be approximately for $600,000 for construction with the 80-20 match, and $30,000 for construction management on this project.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. And this is a project that we have actually had discussion on for a while. It's been a long time coming. I'm sure that Councilman Siegel is very excited, right?
We did bring it up at my town hall meeting on Tuesday.
Oh, good.
Mr. Lynn handled it very well.
Very good. So if it's okay with the mayor and council, I'd like to put this on the consent agenda.
Just one more thing.
Sure.
And before that, let the citizens know that this is probably the last piece of what we're going to have to deal with in regards to Riverside Parkway, because that was part of the service agreement that we were going to take care of the bridge because it was already in process. And after that, we should be done. The county is responsible for Riverside Parkway.
That is correct. Under the service delivery agreement that we made with the county, the Riverside Parkway Road has been turned over to the county. However, since we were in the process of this bridge, and it was a city project at the time, that when we complete this project, it will also be turned over to the county.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Madam
Great
Chair,
mind.
if
Yes,
I might
sir.
just make a comment or ask Ms.
Sure.
Wright. I'm just concerned that we're entering a project that will take 2 years before we're ready for funding, but we have to try to get the money in today's dollars and then prepare for our 20% match. And I know this has been somewhat of a pet peeve of mine during my tenure on the council, in that we tend to come up with grants, but by the time we finish, our overages are just tremendous because of the amount of time that goes by. Is this a normal thing for this process to take 2 years to go from bidding process to actual receiving money? And how, is there any way to get around that? Is there any way to change that model?
No, it is a normal thing. It is the Georgia Department of Transportation and the federal process. Even on a sidewalk,
Right.
sometimes a signal may take a year and a half
Right.
at an intersection. And it's just part of the federal regulations that they require.
I'm just concerned that we back ourselves into a corner automatically, knowing that we're going to be short, and that if pricing continues to hold steady or increase as it has in the last number of years, we're going to be much more short in our funds that we're going to have to come up with, because our pricing is 2 years old before they ever consider funding it.
The prices that we got back on this was around $375,000 to $400,000 at this time.
Right.
So we are putting in for the future on that by bumping it up to $600,000. We did have some discussion today with the city manager, Marcia Hampton, and she had talked about putting in a 20% contingency.
Right, and she's
on
going
this
to make
project.
comments. Excuse me, Michelle. Ms.
Well,
Hampton.
thank you, and I appreciate, I'm glad to know that we have attempted to include numbers for inflation. That's great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Based on Michelle's comment, Ms. Wright's comments today in staff meeting, or I should say in budget meetings this week, I've asked, as we've been going over grant projects, that we do increase for future costs, as well as putting in a 20% contingency. The other thing that I would like to talk to you all about while we're going through some of the budget planning processes as it relates to grants, that we change our approach. We can have some further discussion on that, meaning that our yes, we do try to match our grants to projects that are in our plans, but we need to make and ensure that we currently have the existing funding and utilize the grants more so for gap coverage versus for the entire project.
Right.
So I think that will help cover us in the future. Now, of course, SPLOST will help with that, because it allows for us to have more money for capital funding. But if we can manage the projects from that perspective of allowing these grant proceeds to be more of a gap versus to cover the entire cost, I think we can help alleviate some of the problems that we've had in the past.
I do like that, Ms. Hampton. That makes a lot of sense in regards to the grants. And thank you, Michelle, for the breakdown and all the comments and questions from our mayor and council. Do we have any other comments? So again, I'd like to ask that this be put on the consent agenda. If it's okay with the mayor and council? All right. Thank you. No other items under transportation, Madam Mayor.
Ms. Hampton, city manager, do you want me to bring this back and add an additional 20% to the $630,000 at this time? I know we just discussed it.
I'm not certain what are you asking for budget purposes? Are you asking for the contract amount?
Asking to put it in here of what we're applying for, add an additional 20% for contingency in here, which would, which we will get the 80-20 match.
That would be really a decision of the council if that's what you all are interested in, but our plans are, for budget purposes, are the 20%.
The 20% is already there.
20% is what I'm indicating as far as staff is concerned for budgeting purposes, that we're saying if Ms. Wright, and part of her planning, she is already adding her number in for inflation. I'm saying we also need to prepare ourselves for an additional 20% for contingency, because as we talked about in our budget meetings this week, none of these projects that we have ever done have come without change orders or increase in cost. So if we have already planned throughout the process in history of adding in for future costs, and that's still creating a situation where we're coming in either under or having either construction-related change orders or owner-initiated change orders, we also need to add an additional 20%. So I think what Michelle is asking, are you looking to add that 20% that we're talking about at a staff level to the grant, or are you prepared to deal with that just through the budget process, is what I'm saying?
No,
I
think-
can add it to the grant if you'd like,
Yeah.
and you will get an 80-20 match if that's so what you choose.
Yeah, I would like to leave it as is, as chair, leave it as is, and then when we go over our budget in June, so that we can look at everything at a more holistic approach. Is that?
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
guess my question would be, Ms. Wright has already included an inflationary figure of what, 50% or more, from 350 to 600,000. Would part of that inflation have been a contingency, or is that just what you're
No,
anticipating?
that doesn't include contingency. And the way that this works is if you put in an amount, let's say, for example, 2 years goes by and we put in 700,000 and we get the bid in for the contract to rehabilitate the bridge and it's 400,000, you spend the 400,000 and then GDOT just takes the rest of the money back. So.
Right, and what Ms. Hampton has suggested, I mean, this is a proposed that we put 20% in. I think until we look at the budget and get a real concrete, I think we're just kind of putting it before the cart before the horse to put that 20% in right now. You look, question, Councilman Adams?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right,
Okay, thank you.
So I guess the answer is good.
so we're good with
Leave
putting
it.
this on the consent agenda and moving forward?
Yep.
Yes?
Mhm.
All right, thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you
For real
much.
this time.
Yes, ma'am. We'll move on to Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Richard Siegel.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Ordinance and Intergovernmental Committee. Vice Chair is Councilmember Danley.
No items, Madam Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome. Education and Training Committee. Vice Chair is also Councilmember Burt Danley.
No items, Madam Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the council tonight from council members?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we will need to have an executive session, and we'll make a motion when the time comes there under item 23 for that, for a legal matter.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Adams. Other business, I would like to thank Councilman Richard Siegel for his town hall meeting that he had this past Tuesday. It was well attended and very informative. So thank you for taking the time out to do that, and for staff, the support that you all provided to the citizens of the tributary area in that ward. It went very well. You did a great job.
Thank you for attending as well. We had great questions from the audience. I think we handled them quite well. We're looking forward to the video coming out.
Yes, sir. And we have the announcement of the upcoming town hall meeting for the Northside council members, Dr. LaShawn Burt Danley and Councilmember Davis, as well as Commissioner Henry Mitchell, which will be May the 9th.
That's correct, Madam Mayor. It's a collaborative effort with the county and the city, and also we're adding a component with our district school board member, Devitrion Caldwell, will also give an educational update.
Very good, very good. So we look forward to that next week or the week after. I want to thank the Maintenance and Sanitation Department and Mr. Greg Roberts for the spring cleanup. I believe it went very well. We saw lots of, and I've in fact received phone calls. People were, there are mattresses outside on various streets, so we appreciate the citizens cleaning out their yards, and so that we can eliminate debris and helping with the spring cleanup. But I know it was very task-oriented, but a duty on the Maintenance and Sanitation Department. I want to thank them for doing that again this year for the spring cleanup, city spring cleanup. And also an announcement for the city's Ultimate Block Party. Where's Mr. Lynn? Did he leave? I know, you're ready. I'm going to put you on the spot. The Ultimate Block Party that is going to be held tomorrow. Yeah, the film, sing, and all kinds of great stuff. So you can tell us the times and all of that.
Yes, ma'am, and I know I'm going to miss something, and I apologize, but we are having the Ultimate Block Party. Our Main Street office is hosting that. It will be tomorrow night from 6 to 10 in the precinct parking lot in downtown where we have our food trucks. The events will have several, we'll actually have about 2 to 3 food trucks. We'll have Ted's Tacos, Texas Ted Tacos. I get tongue-tied. We'll have a food truck called Grubbing Out will be here. We'll have Popcorn Depot. We'll have a few vendors. The Economic Development Authority is going to be handing out glow sticks, so when it gets night, you know, we kind of make downtown light up. The bounce houses for the kids will be face painting, some just other vendors. I know our Parks and Rec department are going to be doing cornhole. Our city TV will be there. We'll definitely have a lot of stuff going on. And as it gets toward the 8:15, 8:30 hour, as the sun goes down, they will show the movie Sing for all the kids. And I'll be honest, the music is just as good for the adults as it is for the kids. And I hate to admit that, but it's pretty good. So that's tomorrow night. I think we'll have a great turnout, but that'll start at 6 and wrap up about 10 o'clock. So, and we've already tested the movie. It does play all the way through, unlike this time last year where we had an issue with the movie that we received from Amazon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Lynn. I appreciate that. Okay, so I've said all my announcements. Any other business to come over the council from council members? Thank you. Not seeing anyone else. The city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Chief of Police, our Deputy Chief, Ms. Sue Ann Shaw.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. City Manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
No business, Madam Mayor.
What? It's a shock. Thank you so much. Comments from citizens and delegates, if there's anyone that has survived and you'd like to come forward and give us any comments, we'd love to hear from you. Please approach the podium, give your name and address for the record, and the floor is open for you to give any comments.
We have a school board member out there. You don't want to come up and talk to us?
Thank you so much, Mr. DeVitron Caldwell. It's good to see you, school board member. Thank you, Councilman Siegel, for recognizing him. Thank you for your service. Okay, staff reports.
There are none, Madam Mayor.
Really? This is a shock to me. Okay, thank you so much. Well, I will open the floor for a motion to recess into executive session to discuss a legal matter.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd make a motion that we adjourn into executive session to investigate a legal matter and a personnel issue.
Second?
Thank you. It's been properly moved in second to adjourn into executive session to discuss a legal matter and personnel. Are there any questions or comments from the council members? All of those in favor of adjourning to executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. We are adjourning to executive session to discuss legal and personnel matters.